everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from Winter Wonderland in Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist,
the podcast exploring religion, politics, current events from now two of standard hosts just trying to live life in these United States.
Holy cow, I'm Frank Feldman.
Yeah, you're alive.
Woo!
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking about Mormons and the way that the sort of Mormon culture is shifting largely away from traditional Mormon culture.
I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to start calling them Lessmans. Because I don't even recognize what's happening anymore.
Thanks, Dan. But first, we have some news of the week, things to talk about, including, where do I want to start? I'm going to start here because this just warmed sort of the dark corner of my heart. All right, let's just jump right into it. It's a case of buyer's remorse, I guess. I'm just going to read this straight from this article.
Okay.
U.S. Muslim leaders who supported Republican Donald Trump to protest against the Biden administration's support for Israel's war on Gaza and attacks on Lebanon have been deeply disappointed by his cabinet picks.
What?
Oh,
shocking.
Huh. You actually thought this was going to go your way if you voted for Trump? Because you were mildly disappointed over the Biden's handling of the whole thing?
Look, you don't have to be mildly. You can be absolutely furious. You can be 1,000% livid over how the Biden administration has handled Israel's genocide in Gaza. I'm fine with that. Be furious. But don't kid yourself into thinking that, not like allowing Trump to get in is going to make anything any better.
No, it's going to make it absolutely worse.
1,000% worse.
And your only hope for it getting a little better was to vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, you bite the bullet, you grit your teeth, and you...
So this is a quote from Rabiul Chowdhury. He's a Philadelphia investor who chaired the Abandon Harris campaign in Pennsylvania and co-founded Muslims for Trump. He says, Trump won because of us.
Yeah.
And we're not happy with his Secretary of State picks and others.
And Trump doesn't give a fuck about that.
No, not at all. Because
your unhappiness makes him happy.
Yeah. And in case you missed it, the Secretary of State that he's a little upset about is Marco fucking Rubio.
Oh my God.
Right? Who is earlier this year, Rubio said he would not call for a ceasefire in Gaza and that he believed Israel should destroy every element of Hamas. These people are vicious animals, he said. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he didn't mean Hamas. By the way, when they say we need to destroy every element of Hamas, they're not talking about Hamas. They're talking about Muslims.
Quite possibly. And let's go through some of his other nominees for important roles in the government.
Must we? Do we have to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike Huckabee. Y'all know Mike Huckabee. Former Arkansas governor and staunch pro-Israel conservative who backs the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and has called a two-state solution in Palestine unworkable. Well, he's the next ambassador to Israel.
Right.
Great. Republican Representative Elise Stefanik has called the UN a cesspool of anti-Semitism for its condemnation of deaths in Gaza, is being tapped to be the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations.
Right.
So this is, first of all, so incredibly predictable. Right?
Yeah. We all knew this was coming. I don't know how anyone didn't see this coming.
Yeah. Well, Rexinaldo Nazarko, the executive director of the American Muslim Engagement and Empowerment Network, didn't see it coming. He says, we are very disappointed. It seems like this administration has been packed entirely with neoconservatives and extremely pro-Israel, pro-war people, which is a failure on the side of President Trump to the pro-peace, anti-war movement. And I hate to laugh, and I hate to feel actual genuine schadenfreude for these people, but I gotta feel it for. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm like, I am taking a moment of feeling kind of like, taking a little bit of pleasure in seeing some people be so fucking shocked, because it is their stupidity is astounding to me. And honestly, the path that they have helped this country go down, that they actively participated in, and because like you can point to Michigan and say clearly that the Muslim vote shifted Michigan.
Yeah.
Like that is, you can without it. And had Harris won Michigan, it wouldn't have changed the outcome. But there are Muslim voters throughout these swing states, and it's just the overall, this sentiment of like, well, I'm upset at Biden for X, Y, or Z. I'm going to burn the fucking house down and vote for Trump. It's out fucking outrageous.
I don't believe. Yeah, I just think people. So many people don't have the bandwidth for everything. Most people, I think our listeners are an exception. Our listeners and sort of people in our ilk really want to pay attention to the world. Mm-hmm. But not everybody has the bandwidth to pay attention to everything. So everybody picks their like one or two things that matter in any given election, and then they just vote that.
Yeah.
And if that one or two things happens to be like nothing to do with the presidency, like the cost of food, or nothing to do, or like, yes, one was bad, but you don't notice and don't pay attention enough to know that the other will be far, far, far worse. Yeah. Well, congratulations. You burned down the building to kill the spider.
Yeah. It's pretty shocking. It's here's Hassan Abdel Salam, a former professor at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities and co-founder of the Abandon Harris campaign. It's like he's going on Zionist overdrive. We were always extremely skeptical. Obviously, we're still waiting to see where the administration will go, but it does look like our community has been played.
You think?
Great. Cool.
I just here's the one thing I don't believe is that all of the people at the top of these abandoned Harris organizations or whatever are at all surprised. I think they knew what they were doing. You said that one of them was an investor guy or whatever. Yeah. They just he's just protecting his money. He just thinks, well, Trump's going to lower my taxes, so I don't give a fuck.
That's possible.
I don't believe. I think that's a just pure cynicism move right there. But then he conned a bunch of his own people into following suit.
Yeah.
And voting against every one of their best interests.
Yeah. I'm not going to try to project onto somebody, something like that.
Well, I almost think that's nicer. I almost think I'm being kind, because the alternative is that he was so massively stupid that he that he did this to himself just out of abject stupidity.
I honestly think that, because that's what, by and large, the Muslim voters who ended up voting for Trump, that's what they believed.
Yeah.
Right? It was incredibly stupid and the if you could not see the greater risk long term of a Trump administration toward the American people, right? And toward our institutions and our democracy, Like if you couldn't see that and put that properly in the scale, right, of how you were going to balance out your little vote.
Yep.
Right. Like if you couldn't do that, I'm at a complete loss. Like,
yeah.
Like
well,
that is
I'm at a complete loss about our whole
percentage
country.
of the American electorate is it has been in complete denial about who Donald Trump is. Right.
Yeah.
For you to make that vote, you were in denial about who he is. And, you know, I'm going to have to take it too. I'm going to have my own suffering on this, but there is a part of me that will gladly watch these people suffer. I'm sorry.
Well, I am going to I'm going to take us across the pond. Let's get our minds out of our own dumpster fire of a country and go and look at England.
Oh,
where they have a church that is named after them, and that their king is the head of, and whatever.
Fancy.
However, you know, the Church of England, while the monarch is the sort of the sort of head of the church, that's not who runs the church. That the sort of person who is in charge of the church. I don't know what would you call it. This is the Archbishop of Canterbury, who's kind of just like the head of the Anglican Communion and you know, whatever. Well, he's gone.
Oh,
he's left.
No.
Justin Welby, who we've talked about many times on the show, who seems like, you know, nice enough. Turns out kind of not, because he's resigning, and the reason that he's resigning is because he basically protected molesters and didn't protect kids.
How is this constantly the story?
I don't know. It's such an easy one. This is the gimme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but not until recently, apparently. And it does keep happening, but this is a story that goes back decades.
Oh, okay.
There was the main thing is that there was a guy by the name of John Smith or Smythe. I don't know. Smyth. I think that's still Smith. There's no E. I don't know. How do you Brits do that? I don't know what it is. Anyway, this guy, a big time attorney, apparently, who would go to Christian summer camps and be with the teenaged boys, and not just in Britain, but in Zimbabwe, South Africa. This was a 50-year reign of terror where he would sexually abuse young boys. Oh, no. He would beat them.
Oh my God.
He was a nightmare, and was apparently allowed to continue in this, in part under Justin Welby's watchful eye.
Oh my God. So like he knew about it as it was happening.
Apparently.
Jesus.
So, but the shocking thing is that he's actually doing a thing. It's not, you know, he's not going to jail, but what he is doing is resigning.
Well,
so,
okay. I mean, that's more than, I guess.
It's more than so much. It's bare minimum-y.
Yeah.
It's as bare minimum as you can get, but it's more than we can say for so like actual perpetrators. You know, we see priests who are actual perpetrators of these kinds of crimes just retire, you know, just being moved to a place where they won't do much more harm or whatever. Like,
right. Or just a new place where they can do harm, but maybe well,
I'm saying even after they're caught, even after they're called out or whatever, they frequently don't resign.
Right.
They frequently, you know what I mean? Like, at least he's doing a very public thing where he knows he was wrong and he's admitting it.
He's setting such a good example. Like, you're right. We should really give this guy credit.
Somebody should get him a t-shirt that says, "I did the bare minimum and all I got was this lousy t-shirt."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's I hear you. I hear you wanting to kind of acknowledge that, oh, well, he's at least he's doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Like he also could have, protected the children back in the day.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why that's such like a hard thing for these people to have done, to wrap their head around back 20, 30 years. Oh, like,
These
back
are meant
in
to be
back in
the
the
moral
90s,
leaders.
back in the 80s, like we just didn't know better. Fuck off.
Right?
These are children. These are sexual predators. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you let this keep going, or do you do something about it?
What it speaks to is the power of sort of good old boy networks.
Yeah.
And why and the fact that they are literally everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we know, like, Donald Trump is a serial sexual predator.
Right.
There are several pictures of him and stories of him, with Jeffrey Epstein. These people protect each other. Why do you think Trump is tapped Matt Gaetz? He wants to be surrounded by other sexual predators so that they take care of each other. I'm just saying, like, all of these power structures are more interested in protecting each other than protecting the victims of these crimes. But it's especially galling when it is church leaders who are meant to be the moral sort of scions of their community.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Pissing me off.
Woof. We are in bad moods, everybody.
Yeah. Well, Dan.
About the world, that is.
I've got a story coming to us from Iran, where their government has decided to deal with an issue that's happening in their country in a proactive way. I'm
really not going to like this, am I?
They are responding to the public health crisis of women who remove their hijab.
Nope.
They've announced that they're opening up a treatment clinic. Where they literally are going to be treating these women as though they are crazy.
Yeah.
The clinic will offer scientific quote. Let me be clear about this. The clinic will offer, quote, scientific and psychological treatment for hijab removal.
Wow. You have been diagnosed with not wearing a scarf.
Yeah. You're crazy. You don't want to wear a headscarf? You're crazy. Like, why don't you want to do this? First of all, I mean, there's so many different colors to choose from, right?
I mean, a clinic is so much better. I did not see that coming. I mean, I'm happy with a clinic. It's not prison.
It's prison, Dan. It's prison with chemicals.
They're treating.
Yeah, they're
chemical.
They're medicating these women. It's a psychiatric hospital, right? Essentially, the announcement of this clinic comes after state media reported that a university student who was arrested after stripping down to her underwear
I saw that.
Yeah, in Tehran during a protest. She did so reportedly in protest at being assaulted by campus security guards for breaches of the hijab law. She's been transferred to a psychiatric hospital. Amnesty International says that there is evidence of torture, violence, and forced medication being used on protesters and political dissidents. So yeah, this is a horrible, horrible development that's being presented as this, like, hey, this is, these women, they just need some help. The announcement came from the head of the Women and Family Department of the Tehran headquarters for the promotion of virtue and prevention of vice. And
those are always the most important organizations in any repressive government. You how precious it is to have a place where you can, prevent vice and promote.
Sounds good, right?
Yeah.
But when the vice is showing your hair in public, methinks you might have a different definition of vice than I do.
Yeah.
So
no surprise there.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right. Well, more good news. We're just gonna keep the good news a-rolling.
Oh, good.
In Oklahoma, your fair former place of residence.
Love me some Oklahoma.
It's an update to our the ongoing thing. It's become clear that what the Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Ryan Walters, wants is for Trump to probably appoint him head of education or something.
Oh.
And that you'll recall, our listeners will recall, this is the guy that put out a thing that they were going to spend millions of dollars buying Bibles, and that the Bibles had to be, they could be from anybody, but they had to be basically so many different things that only the Trump Bible actually fit the brief, and it was stupid. And then there were lawsuits, and then he retracted it, and then he didn't retract it, and there was all this bullshit. And the lawsuits are still going, and whatever. And he was going to buy one for every classroom in the world, or I don't know. It was an absurd amount of money. The Trump Bible is $60, and that's an absurd thing to pay when you could buy a Bible for $2. And, the only difference being that the Trump Bible has the Constitution of the United States in it, and minus a few amendments that Trump didn't like. And it's just an absurd thing all around. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is absurd. Mm-hmm. While it's been going through the courts and whatever, Walters snuck around and bought 500 Trump Bibles.
Oh,
for use in, and this is my favorite thing, the AP government classes.
Oh.
So,
all right.
That's cute and not at all subtle. Anyone who doesn't know, AP is advanced placement, and it's, the AP programs are there to get kids some college credit by taking a test at the end of the year. And the AP course curricula are intense and pre-planned and don't include the goddamn Bible, especially in AP government. Yeah. Where would that fit in? Except to say that he is overtly saying that I want this to be a Christian nationalist country. And I am being very clear about that, and also sending a very clear message to Donald Trump so that he knows that I am just, this was just a ball lick on Walter's part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this guy is such a peach, and it'll probably work. It's so easy to suck up to Donald Trump. He just wants sycophants, and this guy's playing the game right, and we probably will have. Oklahoma will be rid of him, thankfully.
Yeah, they'll probably be relieved.
But he'll now be in charge. He'll be the guy that buys Trump Bibles for every classroom in America. At this point, we'll see.
Dan, all right, let's shift to something a little different.
Okay.
A seasonal story, in fact.
Ooh.
'Tis the season, right? We're upon
first season.
We're upon the Christmas season. It's
not even Thanksgiving yet.
Dan, you were just saying that you're trying to get into the Christmas spirit. And
well, I was saying it was a theory.
So
we're referencing the Frank and Dan Diary for those of you who don't know. There's a lot of fun going on over there. You guys should become patrons.
Go
so
check
you
it
can
out.
listen to
Yeah. All right. Well, over there in the UK, there's a retail chain, Debenhams. I don't know.
They like
to say things funny.
It's true.
But anyway, retail chain turned online retailer, I guess. I don't know the exact story of who Debenhams is. But anyway, they got in a little bit of trouble with some Christians who were super, super, super butthurt about a really cute sweater that they were selling on their website. It's purple, and it has like a little manger with like a manger looking thing with like a rainbow sort of emitting out of it, and it says "a gay in a manger."
A gay in a manger.
A gay in a manger. Cute. Right.
Sure.
Sure. It's so cute. Anyway, I mean, something that people would want, right? Some people would want this, and they would show up to a Christmas party, and everybody's gonna, they've got their fun Christmas sweater, right?
Right.
And it's gonna be a lot of fun to show up to that party in that t-shirt. But the Christians were pretty upset about it. And so they were threatening boycott. They were posting on Twitter about it. Somebody said, the main issue at hand here is if you're going to mock people's faith, then why do you do it only to Christianity?
Oh,
what is it that makes you feel it's okay to do it to us? Unless you have a gay Muhammad and Buddha t-shirts that we don't know of. Anyway.
Let me tell you something. Those guys weren't gay. Jesus, very clearly gay. Have you read the story? Why would we do a gay Muhammad? Muhammad was straight as an arrow.
Well, I'll tell you why you don't do a gay Muhammad. Christians aren't going to cut your head off.
They're not going to blow up the building.
Yeah, they're not going to live stream them cutting your head off for having depicted Muhammad as gay. Right. That's why you don't do it about him. But gay Buddha? Sure, great. Bring it on, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, they caved. I looked for it online. It's not there anymore. They actually mentioned the name of the supplier. The supplier has pulled it from their website as well. They've also removed other Christian-themed products, including some greeting cards and a T-shirt that had Jesus on a motorcycle that said "Bad Religion." And this is fun stuff. It's fun. We don't believe in Jesus, and you may not like the depiction of it, but it's fun. Don't rain on our parade for making fun of it.
You know what? I just found the same T-shirt on the Walmart website.
Shut up.
I'm getting it. You know what?
How have the Christians in this country not gone into an absolute tizzy?
I know. I think I'm gonna get this T-shirt because you in our Frank and Dan Diary, you told me I was supposed to buy things to get myself into the spirit of the season, and getting a Christmas thing that will piss off Christians feels like exactly the right thing to do.
Yeah. Is it purple? Is it it's?
Well, this one's a black shirt, but the lettering is in sort of a pinky purple, and it just says "A gay in the manger," and it has a little manger, and it's got like a little bit of rainbow emitting from it.
There you go. Yeah, fun.
It's great.
And if that gets you into the Christmas spirit, Dan, then yeah, I think it's worth offending a few Christians over.
It gets me into a Christmas spirit. I don't know if it's the Christmas spirit, but
you need to be in the Christmas spirit, Dan.
Oh, it's out of stock. Oh,
that's the way
they tricked me.
Uh-huh.
I've been tricked, everybody. All right. Well, I'm going to close us off with what I am assuming is temporary good news.
Mm-hmm.
And that is another update, this time of the story out of Louisiana, where a bunch of ding-dongs in the Louisiana government passed a bill to say that the Ten Commandments had to be put into all of the public classrooms. And then there was a lawsuit, and a U.S. district judge has determined that was has correctly determined that is a blatantly unconstitutional thing to do. At least for right now, it is this will be appealed. It will make it up to the howler monkeys in the Supreme Court, and then it's going to proliferate across the country. All of the red states will make this a law.
Yeah.
But for right now, a U.S. district judge has said that it is, and the quote is, quote, unconstitutional on its face.
Wow.
Pulling no punches there. That's not a nuanced opinion. That is a smackdown.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
A lot of good it will do long term.
Yeah. But at very least, we can look at it and go, okay, look at that. A little bit of sanity left in our country before it all dies.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of that, Dan, of us watching the last remaining people do sane things and then just have it be completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Not to be a complete downer, everybody, but
oh my God,
the United States as we know it is over, right?
Yes, the United States is over. We're just now it's just a matter of like we're figuring out where in the ashes to sift through, and we won't know that for a while.
No,
to find anything good ever again.
Right,
but
right now, what you need to do is you need to order some fun Christmas sweaters. Make yourself some mulled wine.
Yeah.
And just ignore everything.
Oh my God. Just sip your mulled wine as you watch the nuclear explosion.
No, don't
take
watch
us
it.
all
don't
away.
watch it. No, that's you don't watch it. You wait for the explosion to hit, but you don't pay attention as it's coming.
You're doing something else. It's fine. Do whatever. Watch Bob's Burgers. Enjoy your life. Get your life. Have a good time.
Yeah.
We're all going down, and it's just enjoy the ride.
Try some meditation, maybe. Like whatever it takes. Just you're gonna get through it. Maybe.
Oh my gosh. Did you see the thing? I'm gonna go off on a tangent here because it's such a. Did you see the thing from the New Zealand Parliament?
Yeah.
Where they had snuck a bill in, and it was clearly a bill that was just there to marginalize and minoritize people, and the Maori, this young Maori member of the Parliament, started a haka on the floor.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's
pretty amazing.
I think literally we need to send a contingent of Democrats to New Zealand to say, how do we do this without a cultural appropriation? How do we disrupt that big?
Yeah.
Train us.
Yeah.
Because that's where we need to be. There's nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
Go do a haka, everybody.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, everybody do a haka at anyone that you see wearing a Trump hat. Just do a haka at them. An individual haka.
I don't know. It was the everyone joining in element that made it pretty powerful. But it was angry, and it was
amazing.
It was pretty
It was the energy I needed.
Yeah.
That's the energy that I want to tap into.
Yeah.
We're going to have to start figuring something like that out. Anyway, if you would like to write into us about that or any other bad ideas that we've had on this show, feel free to do so. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank,
Dan.
you've been gone for 2 weeks, and that means that we have not thanked our lovely new patrons, and we
For
must
far too long.
do so.
Yeah.
We are behind.
We are behind.
So I'm going to start us off because I'm going to thank Elizabeth, who is a deacon over on PayPal. Thank you so much for your automated monthly payment. We really super duper appreciate you.
And over on Patreon, Dan, we have a bunch of new patrons. We have a new deacon by the name of Rita.
Deacon Rita,
Deacon
I love
Rita.
it.
That sounds like a beverage.
Yeah.
Deacon Rita. Anyway, and we have 2 new teachers. We have Allison and Michael.
Oh, wow.
Thank you to the both of you. And then we have a new prophet, seer, and revelator.
No. Amazing. Beautiful.
By the name of Thomas. So
wonderful.
Thank you
guys.
to all of y'all. If you'd like to join these kind folk in supporting the show, you can do so. Go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the support tab. And then there's options. And you know what? You know, we're all feeling a little weird, a little blue. Maybe it'll make you feel better.
I think it. I don't see how you could avoid feeling better.
It won't make you feel worse.
It won't. I mean, look, we're not asking anyone who can't afford it to do anything that they can't afford. That's not what we want. But if you can afford to give us a little bit of money, that's Christmas cheer right there.
Yeah.
I don't see what could go wrong. So, plus you'll get things like the Frank and Dan Diary. If you're at a certain level, you'll get the Christmas spirit just keeps rolling in. It's all good things.
There's no end.
So, thank you so much to all of you. Go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate and find the ways to do it there, and we will greatly appreciate you.
Yes, indeed. And as always, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up. Oh, Frank.
Dan.
The world changes around you. You know, if there's one thing that you learn when you become a middle-aged person, as you and I are, it is that the world is it's in flux. It's constantly changing.
Yeah.
And not always in ways that you would predict or like or even understand.
No. But it definitely does give one some insight into how and why old men yell at neighborhood children for doing whatever.
We're like a year and a half away from that. You and I. I develop more and more sympathy for the grouchy old men in the world as I get older.
No, I don't. I think I don't want to be a grouchy old man. I want to be a happy old man. The world is not making it easy.
No,
for us.
No,
for those of us that do not want to be grumpy and grouchy. But
yeah,
you know,
as a matter of fact, when you and I were discussing our topic this week, you got a little grouchy. You were a little miffed, if I do say so myself.
Well, yeah, because there's something that just doesn't seem fair. And yeah. No, there's this interesting thing that's happening in the Mormon church at the moment. Well, not so much in the church, but in sort of amongst the membership, amongst the Mormons themselves. And we've talked about it. We've you know, I don't know how many weeks ago it was that we talked about not the Real Housewives of Salt Lake, the
Secret Lives of
Mormon Wives, that one. Because there's something interesting that's happening with the women on that show, which is they're owning their Mormon identity, right?
Yeah.
But going out and living lives that are
Not Mormon.
From my perspective, yeah, not Mormon. Not like hard to identify as like traditionally Mormon. And for people who grew up in the church when we did, and who were sort of coming to terms with the ways that we didn't match up with Mormonism, right? As people, as and how we wanted to live our lives, there was no space for us. The Mormon culture at the time was so extremely conformist, and whatever was said over the pulpit at General Conference was the law, right?
It was absolutely like, to question it was to be evil, to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not allowed to question it. You're not allowed to wonder about it. It's just how it is. And that's that. So the thought of these people like going against that and just now, what's funny to me is that, of course, the church is going to fight this. We're going to get to the stuff that you think, but the church is going to fight this at their peril.
Yeah.
The church should be thrilled by this. Because people are finding their way to stay in the church in spite of like not acting like good members.
Right.
And we're going to talk about the ways that they're doing that. But that's good for the church, but they're not going to see it that way.
No, but you know, the one of the points of Mormonism, right, is conformity to whatever the prophet says. Right.
That might be the main point of Mormonism.
Yeah, you're supposed to follow the prophet. Right? Isn't that like one of the primary
There's a song.
songs?
Yeah, there's multiple songs
follow
about
the prophet, Follow the prophet. Anyway.
Do whatever that motherfucker says.
Anyway, we talked very recently about sort of the new changes that are being made to the temple garment, the magic underwear that Mormons wear. They're sort of changing the shape, and they've introduced a slip and for women and all this kind of stuff. Revolutionary stuff.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. But the one thing that we kind of missed was some research done by Jana Reese, the Religion News Service columnist, who looks at Mormonism and tries to understand what's going on. She's Mormon herself.
And, she is a practicing Mormon.
Practicing sort of more liberal Mormon. But the one thing that's sort of the hallmark of what she's doing is that I think she's really honest in her analysis.
Yes. Right? And a good journalist, a genuinely good journalist.
Anyway, she did this Next Mormon survey, which came out a little while ago. But one of the things that I think we missed in it at the time was the fact that one of the things that they asked was, you know, are you wearing your garments? Basically, they asked about garment wearing and wanted to know sort of today, are you wearing your garments?
To be clear to everyone, this is a requirement.
Yeah.
If you have been through the temple, through the Mormon temple, you make a covenant with the Lord that you will forever wear your garments at all times, in all places, unless you've been swimming or something.
Yeah. And so 84% of baby boomers said that they were wearing their garments on the day of the survey. But 84%, that is actually not the level of compliance that the church probably would want to hear.
No,
right?
Like
they want 100% on this.
If you had told me that when I was a kid, that only 84% of any demographic in the church was wearing their garments, I would have been gobsmacked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that means that 16% of the church is evil.
Yeah. They're not doing it.
Yeah.
It means that anybody is not doing it.
Yeah.
Which would have shocked me.
Yeah. And so if we look at the younger generations, it is dramatically different. Only 42% of Gen Xers were wearing their garments.
That's
36% of
mind-boggling.
millennials, and 41% of Gen Z, which is just sort of mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
That there is that low of adherence to wearing garments. And what it's saying is that the Mormon populace is, they're out there, they're being Mormon, they're doing all their Mormon-y things, but they're just not complying with all the little rules. Something that we missed, I don't think we talked about this when it came out, but it came out a number of years ago. Also, some numbers from Jana Reese, but that was looking at adherence to the word of wisdom, which is the Mormon rules against drinking coffee, tea, alcohol, amongst other things, not smoking, that kind of stuff.
It's Mormon kosher law.
Yeah, such as it is. Found that essentially less than half of American Mormons regularly adhere to the word of wisdom. Now, that was sort of all Mormons. If you look at the ones who go to church on a regular basis, which they define as once a week, there are 28% of Mormons who attended church once a week drank coffee, 25% drank tea, and 18% drank alcohol within the last 6 months, I think is what.
That is crazy.
Absolutely crazy town. And if you actually look at temple recommend holders, which is sort of the highest echelon of Mormons, right?
Yeah.
This is what you're aspiring to. You're supposed to be a temple worthy member of the church. You're supposed to have your recommend. And there's like an interview process, and you're answering questions that say, one of the questions is, do you observe the word of wisdom? Right. Yeah. And this same study showed that 11% of active temple recommend holders said that they consumed alcohol in the previous 6 months.
Well, my mind is absolutely shattered.
Yeah.
I literally, like this, you guys may not appreciate. I want to impress upon our listeners that were never Mormon how completely shocking this is.
Yeah.
Like this is, these numbers are like, if you had said that to me when I was a kid, I would not have believed you. I just don't know. I don't know where I would have put that in my head.
Yeah. I mean, these are people who are obviously not like going, like if they're active Mormons, I doubt they're going to bars and whatnot. These are sneaky drinkers. My sister sort of cued me in on something, which is sort of the vacation drinkers. If you're going to Cancun, right, you're gonna enjoy some booze, right, while you're there. And apparently, like this is it's common enough that I think that this is probably what we're seeing is that like these probably aren't habitual, drinkers. These aren't people who are having a glass or two of wine with dinner even, right? Like these are people who are having a little cocktail or 10 when they go sort of out of town. I bet it's a lot of out of town drinking.
But it still speaks to, I mean, like I get, here's what it tells me. I did Mormonism all wrong. Because when I was a Mormon, I took it super duper duper seriously.
Same here.
And I was like, I held myself to this desperately high standard. And when I failed, which I inevitably did, because, I liked boobies and stuff.
Right.
I was horrified, and I would weepingly confess to my bishop. And it was like, it was devastating for me.
Yeah.
And these people are just like, well, whatever.
Yeah. You were a chump.
Yeah.
Right.
I was a sucker.
Yeah. You fell for it. And it turns out that like all you had to do was just kind of lie about it.
Yeah.
And not have any since that was the wrong way to do it.
It makes me wonder how many people in all religions, even the ones who seem the most devout, in their minds are just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's got to be a much higher percentage than I knew, than I ever understood.
Yeah.
The ones who are just like, yeah, but, not always.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it for sure, 100%. But, like, still, my wife and I are still going to be in the swinger group. That's right. Of course we are.
Right.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have fun. It's fine. Don't take it too seriously. Don't worry about it.
Right. And then show up at,
And then I'm going to vote against everybody's rights. And then I'm going to vote for, for the worst people on the planet.
Yeah. I mean, I think we know this, right? Like, we know that, people, given the opportunity, engage in the quote unquote vices that they would not engage in typically, right?
Yeah.
It's why the businessman, the traveling businessman back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Getting hookers or hooking up with a guy or whatever, right? Like,
I don't know about back in the day. That's probably more rampant now because it's so much easier.
Right. But I mean,
to find people.
I think I was just talking about a much more sort of closed and closeted society. Like, people still found a way to get out and do their little thing, right?
Yeah.
And I
guess my problem is that I had this sense that even though I knew that those things were happening, that everyone had a reasonably horrific amount of shame about the whole thing, and I don't think they do.
Yeah, you're right.
I think they're just out there like just not taking any of it seriously.
I know, and it makes
which is fine. That's probably good. Like, don't take things too seriously is the right answer, not the wrong one. But boy, is that not the messaging that the Mormon Church wants you to have.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I feel a little bit of resentment toward people who, they're in that situation and they sort of just have their cake and eat it too. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I like, because there's going to be people like you and me who heard the messaging, internalized it, and tortured ourselves over it.
Yeah.
And these people are just out there, not giving a rat's ass, and providing cover in a lot of way for the church, in this case, to keep doing its nonsense, right?
Yeah. To keep torturing.
Yeah. Because
sweet, innocent souls like us.
Yeah. Totally. Like, if these people were actually like honest and out and open about what they were doing and weren't hiding.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe it'd be a little easier for the people like you and me, right?
Yeah.
To just,
maybe, it would present a different, because everybody is lying.
Yeah.
They present one face at church, and then in the comfort and privacy of their own homes or in their lives, like you say, when they go to Cabo, they are a totally different person than who they're lying and pretending to be.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of people who don't know that is probably the majority of their compatriots.
Yeah, or at least a large enough number that you shouldn't feel so bad,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I probably would have just sat and judged them and continued to torture myself. But, so like, we live in this different time now where, the internet, it's a cliche, but it changed everything. Right. And people find each other. They realize what other people are up to. And then you end up with TV shows like Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I hope that it's letting people see themselves for who they are, right?
Yeah.
And looking at themselves and looking at these women and going, okay, I don't have to feel so badly about, the fact that I don't 100% conform.
Right.
Now I don't know what that means long term wise, but but ultimately Mormonism is going to have to figure out how to deal with this. Like, are they just going to start excommunicating all these people, or are they going to just kind of look the other way, and then it becomes a thing that this is just part of, one way to be Mormon? Like, but Mormonism without like these rules, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
I got news for you. I think the leadership of this church and so many churches are all scratching their heads as much as we are. And they're like, I don't know, because they know that they're hemorrhaging members.
Yeah.
So it's like, so what do we do then? Do we just, I think it's going to be a tumultuous time for them while they try and figure out like, well, I don't know what to do. Do we, because their traditional thing, the thing that they've always known to do is just put the hammer down.
Uh-huh.
Just you're out, or we will make a public spectacle of you so that everyone knows how shameful and awful you are.
I don't think that option's available.
I don't think they can do it.
Yeah. Because imagine if they just announced that all of the Secret Lives women are excommunicated.
Which that they're talking about doing. They must be.
I don't know. But imagine if they did, like, I think it would be horribly embarrassing for the church, and I think they know that.
Yeah.
That it would all come back on them.
And yet, having them doing whatever they want freely is also horribly embarrassing for them.
Yeah, I guess it shouldn't be, but yeah, you're right. It is.
So yeah, they're kind of stuck. I kind of love it. I kind of love that the church will for a while now not know what to do or who they even are as an organization.
Yeah.
Like, who runs this thing? Who's steering the ship?
The young women.
Yeah. It's so true. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it. I love the idea of the young women steering the ship. It's not real, but like they're definitely pulling some levers. So that it'll be interesting to watch. If you, dear friends at home, would like to chime in about your take on this or anything we've talked about, please write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, hey, to support the show, go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate.
This episode has been edited by Roger Gowdy, and music has been provided by the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston.
Thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2024, all rights reserved.